Every way that we abandon ourselves for all the people we love, you can feel it in your body. That's the place that it starts. You feel it in the times that you are doing things, but inside you're really resentful and you really don't want to be doing it, but you've signed up for this thing, so you've got to keep doing it. It happens in the ways that you abandon your worth for work. It happens in the ways that you show up early and stay late and never get the raise. It happens in all the ways that your whole body is screaming, is this it?
Hey there, I'm Bria, and welcome to the Period Whisperer podcast. If you're over 35 and ready for real answers about your hormones, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and stay with us. Listen, there's a moment that happens in midlife that no one really prepares us for. It doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion, like snapping at the people you love, or like staring at your calendar and feeling a quiet resentment that you can't explain, like waking up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind and a body that feels done. And I think most women assume something's wrong, right? Wrong with their hormones, their metabolism, their discipline, their mindset. But what if nothing is wrong? What if fatigue, the irritability, the inflammation, the I can't keep doing this feeling isn't dysfunction in the body, which is a lot of what we talk about here? What if it's intelligence? Because here's what I see over and over again in the women I work with. For decades, they have been high functioning, high achieving, high capacity, high responsibility. They learned to override their hunger, override their anger, their intuition, their exhaustion, their ability to say no. And they become exceptional managers of everyone and everything, including themselves. And eventually the body says, if you won't listen quietly, I will start to scream. So today's conversation is not about fixing yourself. It's about asking a much braver question. What would happen if you stopped abandoning yourself? What would shift in your hormones, your nervous system, your relationship, your energy if you stopped pushing past your own signals? My amazing, inspiring guest today is someone who has been leading this conversation long before it became trendy. Andrus Morisette is here with us, a 6-time international best-selling author, empowerment coach, and the creator of Emotional Edge, a framework that helps women understand why they're exhausted, disconnected, and stuck, and how to come home to themselves. This episode is not about adding more to your to-do list. It's about subtracting the habit of leaving yourself behind. So let's begin and welcome the empowering Crystal to our show. Welcome.
Oh, I just love you. And I love the way that you just explained that, because that's it. We abandon ourselves and it often just slowly creeps up.
I agree. And I think we're trained into it. We're conditioned into it. So we don't even know. We're very almost like colorblind to it for most of our.
There's a parable. I use this. I actually wrote this in my second book, Transcendent Beauty. And there's this queen fish, and she's swimming in the water with her prince son fish. And he says, "Mother, what is this thing I keep hearing about called water?" And she says, "It's so much around you. You can't even recognize it." And for all of us, men and women included, we've been swimming in a system, in an energy called patriarchy. And so we don't even know that we've been trained for it, because we've all been trained for it. And it's really only been in the last 50 years you talk about high functioning women who are doing it all. And doing it probably like shockingly, incredibly, until they hit a certain age, right? And then they say, what the hell is going on? And that's when I think what's happened is there's so many of us women now saying, this can't just be about my body. It just can't be that I can't eat carbohydrates or something. It has to be about more than that. And it's that we have been all swimming in a system that we're so trained to push, perform, climb the ladder, which is not what women do. Our whole bodies, nothing about our systems are designed for hierarchy and ladders. We're really designed for like a web of love and energy. And so we just have been doing it in a whole way that doesn't work for us. We're not men, and it just doesn't work for our bodies, our physiology, our brains, our emotions, none of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fascinating thing. And I think left unchecked, it does end up leading us into physical dysfunction. And I think often that's what has us coming for support and help. But I have worked with many clients where we have moved through the actual loss of function in the body. We've replaced what needs to be replaced. We've renourished what needs to be renourished. And this is a massive sticking point. And it is difficult because it is not so tangible. We can't wrap our hands around it. We can't put a checklist to it to have you.
Yeah. And I love that the body is the messenger. And so, yes, of course, we want to love, and it's so cliche, but like love our bodies as if, they were our small child and we wanted to feed them the way we feed. I'm a grandmother now and I have my little Freya Bloom and and her mama who I raised and is incredible and amazing now takes care of her in that same beautiful, loving, committed way. And I think, yeah, we just really lose that as we become women. We stop doing that for ourselves. We stop listening to ourselves. We stop trusting ourselves, but our body is talking the whole time.
Yeah.
And we just have to override it because we have stuff to do.
Yeah.
We don't have time to think. A lot of us think we have no time. And so we will hit that point. And listen, I said to you before I came on, I forget to tell people that not only did I gain 100 pounds in my pregnancy 31 years ago, and then didn't lose it all before my second. And it was shocking because I went from being like the Miss Galaxy in my early 20s to being I was on the cover of magazines to all of a sudden being like 220 pounds with babies. So I did a whole revamp and thought I'd figured out the whole emotional component and wrote my first book, Simply Woman, that got picked up by Hay House. And I was in the top 10 every week for the first year. And I was all about emotions. And it was about the food too, all of it. It was about high octane energy.
Yeah.
But life and teenagers and raising them and then being the solo breadwinner because I was building an empire. So my husband was like, I might as well just help you build the empire.
Yeah.
It all became like, I didn't realize it till suddenly, I was turning 50 and I thought, I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. My husband, my children, my grandchildren. I can't do this. And my body gained 60 pounds. I mean, over that time again. So it was like, I'm eating the broccoli and drinking the water and doing the 10,000 steps. So it has to be something else. And that's when I made the decision, wait, I got to dig out that book again that I wrote 30 years ago and put a new spin on it that's not for a 30-year-old woman, but for a 50-plus-year-old woman and what that means to me now and what we know now as women that we didn't even know 30 years ago. So it's just interesting that we teach what we need to learn. And it was amazing because once I made that decision to just lock it in and stop abandoning myself. That was literally the word I said to my husband, to my daughter, to my staff, to my team, to work, everybody. But it was really my husband was the major one. I can't abandon myself to try to keep it all together for everybody. And I lost 50 pounds in 5 months. That's crazy. That's why I always want to say to them, wait, I forgot the part. They always say, wait, did you cut carbohydrates? What did you do? And I say, I told my husband to get a job. And everybody laughed. And it wasn't funny, like it hurt his feelings. But then I realized, but it is what I said. I did say I can no longer. My daughter was also working for me as my executive assistant and operations manager at the school. She was getting a great salary. And here in Canada, there's a lot of taxes and things you pay for your employees. And my husband. And then and it was like I had to actually say to everybody, wait, I can't. It's just different when your whole family is working for you.
Yeah.
That single decision to let that pressure of feeling like I had to be the mother to everybody and to decide I need to start mothering myself again.
Okay. I feel like I love that you just share this example to me. And just to clarify, so you said I had to dig out that book. Was that the book that you wrote, The Emotional Edge? Was that
Oh
book?
my goodness. So The Emotional Edge was my 6th book, but the first book I did with Hay House back in 2003 was called Simply Woman. And it was a body, mind, soul, total transformation program. And it had a workout video in the back and it was all nutrition and it was incredible. And women just had amazing results. And then I got a radio show on Hay House. And then I got my second book, which was Transcendent Beauty. And then it was all about the inner energy. And then the third book I wrote, that's when I launched the school. And I went to Louise Hay and said, I want to do an empowerment program for women. So then it was Simply Empowered. And then was The Emotional Edge. And that wasn't until 2016. So that's the book that we're talking about today.
Okay.
Is The Edge, the emotional, really getting locked in on your emotional age.
Okay.
How you're showing up.
And by the way,
not chronological age.
Yeah, not your chronological age.
Not your biological age, your emotional age. And when I wrote that book and I had a research assistant, I said, go out there and just research everywhere that I'm not taking this from someone.
Yeah.
And she came back and said, it's never been done before. And when I started using these terms, women got it. Like it was like an immediate call to action. They knew exactly what I was talking about. And it was life-changing. And it was the book that just changed things for me. And that's what got on Oprah. And that's the one. So that's what we're revisiting now that I'm in my mid-50s, saying, wait, emotional age is the answer here. We've got to figure it out where we're really at emotionally.
So you reached a point, like you've obviously had so much success. Feels like you've reinvented yourself, gone deeper so many times, but it was this pivotal moment kind of in midlife where you realized you were abandoning yourself and you learned how to stop abandoning yourself and then had this amazing, more alignment, it sounds like.
Yes. It's like I want to say to women, this is your second act. Yeah. Menopause can be your second act. And if you can get a real handle on what's going on inside your body, in your emotions, and what level of consciousness, and those words can sound, but I really help women understand it in such simple ways. Are you showing up like the mother to everybody, even if you're 25 years old and you have no children? Are you showing up like the daughter everywhere you go, even if you're 70 and have 10 grandchildren? Or are you showing up like the woman that was born inside of you that you could never lose, that is the healthy embodiment and the integration of that mother energy and that daughter energy that allows you to rise into your most empowered, authentic place?
Yeah. Can we break it into as much tangibility as we can? I know it's like, I hear everything that you're saying and appreciate it, but for the women listening who are overwhelmed and are like, Bria and Crystal, like, how do I know that I am self-abandoned? How do I know that this is the issue right here? Like, what is it like? How do we start to see that we're swimming in water?
Well, I would love, because you already said it. You've already done the things and done the diets. And so if we're talking about the body for these women today, your women, and we're talking about, and don't get me wrong, hormones will be so out of whack if you're not listening to your body. But I'm not just talking about the physical body. I'm talking about the messages that you start saying to yourself, I'm longing for things and pretending I'm not. I'm wanting something and I'm convincing myself that makes me selfish. When people ask you what you want to be and you say, I want to be on the red carpet at the Oscars, and then you laugh at yourself and say, that was the stupidest thing I ever said, because who am I? Every way that we abandon ourselves and God bless all the people we love, but you can feel it in your body. That's the place that it starts. And you'll feel it in the lump in your throat when you go to talk about something. You'll hear it in the way that you laugh when I just said the Oscars, at that little laugh of truth that's really revealing. You'll feel it in the tears that spurt into your eyes and you cannot figure out why you're crying. You feel it in the times that you are doing things, but inside you're really resentful and you really don't want to be doing it, but you've signed up for this thing, so you've got to keep doing it. It happens in the ways that you abandon your worth for work. It happens in the ways that you show up early and stay late and never get the raise. It happens in all the ways that your whole body is screaming, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Is this it? And then you realize this cannot just be about broccoli.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so good.
Right? Like, it can't be.
So it shows up physically, obviously, we know that, but so if you're doing all the things and the things aren't working and we've done the functional work and we look in, I mean, there's a pretty clear red light, like, okay, you got to revisit this. But I love the way you broke that down. It happens, so many times in my life, I have caught myself where it's like, I really want to go on that trip, like with my sister or my best friend or my friend. But that conversation that I even have to have feels so big because of this person, or I don't want to disrupt this. So
there it is. So that's the way we abandon. Yeah. And then we don't do the trip when you're 25 with your girlfriends. So you certainly are going to have a really hard time when you're 55 trying to talk to your husband about it, because you've abandoned yourself in all the little tiny ways all the way along. And then before you know it, the big thing. So where does it show up? It shows up in your finances. It shows up in your sex life. Big time. It shows up in your health.
Yeah.
It shows up in those main areas because whatever is repressed will find a way to be expressed. Yeah. And so that lack of self-love that we don't even recognize, that ways that we abandon start showing up in our outer world. And if we can be just lovingly compassionate with ourselves and say, what are all of these things showing me? Yeah. And what it's showing you is what you just described is what I would call a lot of mother energy, which means like it's easier to just not do those things than create the argument. And it is easier when it's just small things. But what happens is that they get layered. Yeah. And then they layer. And I think by the time you hit a certain age, and that's why you hear, well, it's like where 100 years ago, when they were first doing all the hysterectomies on women, because they would say like women turned a certain age, their periods started getting really messed up and they became hysterical. So we now have hysterectomies. And they just were like, let's just take everything out of these women. Maybe they won't be so crazy.
Yeah, we're just going to remove it. Cut it out.
Let's just remove it. And it also blows my mind to realize that it really hasn't been until, this is mind blowing, the last 20 years, that all the studies on all the things, and I'm an exercise physiologist and a nutritionist, but to imagine that all the studies that they've been doing on women's bodies and women's health and like the ways that we should be taking that medicine or taking that herb or trying that has actually never been tested on women, groups of women. They've been only tested on groups of men.
No.
Because like it's just mind blowing that I'm like, what? We are not many men. We're not even like men at all. Our brains aren't like men. Our body, nothing. The way we work, the way we think, the way we move, the way we process emotions, the way our cycle is set up. None of it is set up the same. So it's baffling that we have been trying to exist and succeed in a system not designed for us.
Yeah. We're fucking awesome.
We are. And to think not only did we climb the ladder, then we got to the top and then we started saying things. I started having women who didn't understand the work I was doing on women's empowerment saying, but women are empowered. Yeah. Okay, maybe in your world, but there are a lot of places all over the world that women don't have this information, that don't have these rights, that don't have these permissions, that don't have this boldness, that don't have a podcast, that can't speak out. So we are on the leading edge of the women's movement. Yeah. Women like you, women like me. We're actually changing the narrative and giving women permission to say, okay, so it might be all of those things with my body, and because it doesn't have to be and or, and I mean, it doesn't have to be either or. It can be and. I've stopped listening to my dreams and my heart and my soul. And no matter how many to-do lists I put together or how many diets I try to follow, I'm not happy. Yeah. And if I'm not happy, it's really hard for my body to be at a happy weight.
Yeah. I love that you also brought up, so it doesn't just come up in weight, it's going to come out in your sex life and probably your desirability for it, your confidence in yourself, I would assume. So we would lose our libido in a result like this is what you're saying.
Yeah, we would. Well, if we were in daughter energy, our sex life would mean everything because I'm coy and cute and dramatic and a damsel in distress and I need a man and I need someone to love me and I need that approval. And when I'm wanted, I feel loved. But when we're in mother energy, sex is the last thing on our mind. We're taking care of everybody, and we'd rather be a chubby bubby anyways to not make other women feel uncomfortable. We don't want to make anyone ever feel ill at ease. So we will actually put on that extra weight just to be like, you know what? It makes me feel safe, and it makes all the women feel safe, and everybody liked me. But I didn't like myself.
Yeah.
So woman energy was like figuring out these parts, these two parts of myself. It's almost like we swing back and forth a lot of women.
Mother and daughter energy.
Yes.
Energies, the core energies that make up woman energy, mother and daughter energy.
And woman. There's always three. And when we think about the great psychologists or the great thinkers, a lot of things have always come in these parts of three. So it's like, I often think of like the super ego is like mother energy, the moralistic part of us that is going to, and then the id is sort of like daughter energy, is like, I want what I want and I'll get what I want. And the ego in Freud's psychology would be like the healthy part of you. But I look at it and say we all have a dominant emotional archetype that kind of takes over in times of conflict, in stress. It's how we negotiate. It's how we communicate. It's how we compromise. And one of those, mother or daughter, seems safer. Interestingly, I looked on the outside like I was in daughter energy because I was blonde and I learned how to put it all together and be pretty because I learned that was, and I just had to get a man when growing up and be pretty. But deep down inside, my mother energy ran everything. So inside, I was thinking, I'm carrying the weight of the world. Nobody realized it on the outside. So you know what you feel inside yourself. You know. And for most women, we are kind of going back and forth. But what begins to happen is we start to heal the split between these two parts. And when that happens, it's a beautiful thing because, even books like, I have this right in front of me, The Body Keeps Score, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. And I love this work. This came out around the same time as my book, The Emotional Edge. And I loved it because suddenly at the same time that I was saying, but we all have this part of us that we can never lose. We all have this part of us that is the essence of who we are. And then out comes Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who's a leading doctor on trauma, saying, underneath the protective parts, think mother energy is a part, daughter energy is part of you. Underneath these protective parts, there exists an essence that can never be damaged. And that essence is curious and calm and confident. And when the parts feel safe enough, this real part of you will naturally emerge. So we don't have to work at woman energy. We don't have to go searching for her. She's in every woman. And your woman energy is going to be different than my woman energy, but you'll know yours. And you'll know when you're on your game. You'll know when you're realizing that you're no longer being the parent to everyone else. You're not the wounded healer anymore. You're not trying to fix the world. You're realizing that you have a little girl inside of you that will never grow up, and she's always there. And when that inner mother starts really parenting that inner child, this woman, this inner woman inside you and me and all of the women listening, suddenly feels safe enough to emerge. And when she comes out, well, she doesn't need to eat that much because she's happy. Yeah. And she doesn't there's just so much that starts to fall into place because she's happy.
More peacefully. Yes. She's not consumed by things like grinding away in the brain that she doesn't need anymore because she's that peaceful energy that comes.
Yes. You've got it.
Beautifully. I could almost picture it as you were talking about it, the two pieces you don't have to work on finding your woman energy. It exists there. You have to work on repairing the other two and almost calming them, right?
Yeah. It's almost like, and one of the questions you asked me was how did you come up with this? Before we were just talking about this, how did you come up with this? In a very honest moment, I went through a lot of abuse growing up and a lot of trauma and sexual abuse. And I moved out at 15. And there was a lot, stuff that I always feel like I almost have to put the trigger warning in advance. And I don't even feel the need to tell these stories so much. But years ago, people would say, can you tell your story? And it would be triggering, I realized. But for me, I always knew I wasn't that wounded place. I wasn't that broken girl. And then as I started working with women, I would have clients that I would see repeatedly, just like you, month after month, month after month, and I would notice different versions of them. And I would start to see like, oh, there's sometimes she comes and she is on her game. And sometimes she comes and I don't know who the hell just showed up today. It's like a different version of her. And then there was something in me that I started realizing that I'd actually watched a show on multiple personalities and thought, but we all have multiple personalities. We don't go into amnesia when the other ones come out, but we know we're a little different when we go with the girls to Vegas than we are when we go to pick the kids up at school. We know we're a little different when we go to church or the synagogue or the temple than when we go to, like, we have different hats.
Different.
Right? So those different hats, I could almost go, that had his daughter energy, that had his mother energy. Anyone could almost throw any archetype at me. The seductress, the damsel in distress, the perfectionist, the worrywart, the micromanager, and I'd be like, oh, that's mother energy. Oh, that's daughter energy. And then women started having laughs at themselves. They would say, I'm totally an addict. And so much daughter energy. And then I would say, well, we should get to know your addict because your addict has been saving your life all these years. Rather than hating her, she has been doing everything in her power to save you. And so let's get to know her. She's just your daughter energy acting up. And the healing that would come from knowing you have this one part of you that can almost be like Coach Crystal. That's my woman energy. And Coach Crystal can have a little chit chat with the addict and go, girl, what happened to you last night? You drank 2 bottles of wine. What was going on? And then the addict can go, and then I heal her back into the wholeness of who I am. And when each of these parts almost feel like they're coming back home, you no longer feel fragmented. And you don't have to be somebody different everywhere you go. You're exactly the same woman everywhere you go with everybody you're with. And that's authenticity. And it will show up in your biology, in your physiology, in your nervous system. It'll show up in your income, in your sex. It just transforms your life.
Okay, my next question is, of course, going to be how, but I have to just tell you how I think how beautiful that was, because to tell us here that these parts of ourselves, which we all have, are really just here to protect us, that have been serving a very important role. I think
absolutely
a lot of the shame away from them for us, right? So it was really beautiful to hear you say that, and also recognizing that there's probably always going to be times, as much as we heal, as much as where we, one side of us has to have that conversation with the other side, where we have to bring them home. Like, it's not.
I think it's the most brilliant thing. I'll get my journal in the morning. I'll say, hey, Crystal, are you in there? And then my leather pen will write back, yeah, I'm here. Who was in charge last night? And I can literally write, oh, my daughter energy. Oh, and can we find her? Like, I'm almost coaching myself through my journals. And I've learned how to do it where 10 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm back. I can shake that off. I can love her. I don't have to be ashamed of any part of me. And you just said the most magical part. And I have to tell you, your energy is so beautiful. As I'm talking, there's such a softness, softening all around. Like, it's so beautiful. I can feel the energy shifting. And I'm an energy person. So when I talk about energy, I feel it. Like, I feel it. I feel it almost in colors. I feel it in tones and vibrations. And you can feel it when you're in the presence of a woman who just shifted into her safe place, where she feels like, I don't have to ever shame myself. Because we women get caught in what I call the shame pride loop. And we get ourselves all the way up to feeling like, do you know what I did? And I lost 50 pounds in 5 months. And I'm going to heal everybody. But we can't actually push through a little higher into really having the courage to let ourselves feel all our feelings. And that's the courage I'm talking about, the psychological courage to feel everything going on inside of you without having to numb it, feed it, run from it, shame it, hide it, drink it. Just get to know it, listen to it, and love it. And you'll be shocked at that level of self-acceptance. It's a game changer. Yeah. And suddenly you're just walking through life with a whole different vibe. And people will actually say, I want what she's having.
Yeah. Because we're attracted to vibe, aren't we? Like, at the end of the day, it's vibe that draws us in.
100%. It's vibe. It's all energy. And that's what it means when we say energy. It just means you vibe with someone. Like, I get you. Feels good. And when it feels good, you're in alignment. And when it doesn't feel good in your body, that's the first sign to say, my body has an internal GPS system at every moment. And at every moment, you could feel the truth. And the more you learn how to know the truth and feel the truth, you can feel so fast when you're out of alignment. And with that being said, I can laugh at myself, not laugh like embarrassed. I can show every picture of me, every size, every haircut, everything, every blah. It doesn't matter. It was like your body is just this beautiful vase. And you can take you and put your flowers in that vase and that vase. But it doesn't, you're going to have different flowers, and don't get so stressed about it. Like, you look back and go, that was a crazy time, but it was fun, and I'm not going to shame her. I'm going to love her. So it's really a lot of acceptance on such a deep somatic level that you feel your body inside relaxing. And you say, this feels really good. This is the way I want to do business. This is the way I want to be a grandma. This is the way I want to be a lover. This is the way I want to show up in life. And it just feels good. So why would I do it any other way?
Yeah. I adore you. I think you're so amazing. So I imagine that the first step, obviously, is listening to something like this, starting to recognize that you have these different parts. Like, your first step to stop abandoning yourself is really just awareness, like most things are. And then you said something about even just that journaling of hey, Crystal, hey, Bria, are you in there? Who was in charge last night? That sounds like an amazing step.
It's so fun. Yeah. It is so fun. And then you could literally get different pen colors to be you let the parts talk with each other. And when I'm coaching someone in a coaching call and I say, can we just find her for a minute? Can we put 2 feet on the floor and close your eyes and let's come down out of that busy brain? Just come down into your body and let's just pretend we have a special x-ray machine. Let's just scan around. And where are you? Where are you right now in there? Can you point to her? Women will start crying on the spot because they don't even know where to look. And I say, I've never seen a woman go like this. I'm right here.
They usually just watching us. She was pointing to her head. Where do women point?
Most women will say I'm right down in here. I'm somewhere in my body. And when I take a woman down into that place and then I start asking her, how old are you? How long have you been here? What's going on in there? Is there anyone there with you? If you could give what you're feeling inside your body an emotion, what would it be called? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it blame? Is it happiness? Is it anger? Nothing's wrong. And if we could just know the frequency, then we could meet you right where you're at and get to know why that energy needs to be in you right now, what you have to learn from her. And guess what? When you give her the attention she's been probably wanting since you were 14 years old, she will say, thank you so much. I love you. You can run the show now.
Yeah.
And then your 14-year-old doesn't need to go grocery shopping every time. Your 14-year-old doesn't need to take care of your teenage kids. Your 14-year-old can go be a 14-year-old, and the woman in you can run your life.
Which is what we want. So are there other tips for us, other action steps, or other ways that you recommend women begin to show up for this part of themselves, to repair this piece, to see it and understand it?
I love that question. And I think the most important thing I want to keep reminding women, if you knew the truth of who you are, you would be in awe of yourself. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. You have been trying to exist in a system that wasn't built for you, and you're incredible. So first, take a deep breath and thank yourself, because you have been doing an extraordinary job without the tools to do the job. So give yourself a big hug. Forgive yourself, first off, just for not knowing this before now. Nobody did. For not knowing how to always take care of yourself. You weren't taught properly. And I think starting every morning with a journal and just letting yourself get whatever thoughts out on paper with no restraint. Like, what do I really want? If I have this magic wand, look at this right here beside me on my desk.
Oh my gosh. Love it.
I will say to my clients, if we didn't have to worry about the how, and you don't have to worry about how. That's not the way the universe works. But if you could allow yourself to just dream your greatest dream and you weren't afraid, what would you do? What would you want? Let yourself feel that. Because when I would tell women way back in the day, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, I would have people say, I would never want to be on a stage. I would never want it. And I'd think, well, that's why you're not supposed to. You should figure out what you want.
Yeah.
Not judge my want.
Yeah.
Not judge me if I'm on a stage and getting attention, but you figure out your want, because there's somebody that wants to go to the Antarctic and study seals.
Yeah.
Really. And that's their deep desire. And if they're not in the Antarctic studying seals, they're depressed. So let your emotions tell you what you are really wanting and needing. And then I would ask yourself, once you say to yourself, what is it that I really want? Give yourself permission to feel your anger, because self-sabotage is anger turned inward. And it's when we don't give ourselves permission to express that anger in a healthy way. And when we can start expressing that anger with inspired action in ways that make us feel proud, I would simply ask a woman at that point, well, then what would courage have you do?
There it is. That's the famous question.
Yeah.
Courage.
What would courage have you do? And courage is not always the big, loud guy. You don't have to rescue people out of a burning building, and you don't have to walk on hot coals. Like, I'm not about any of that. You don't have to jump out of airplanes if that scares you. Courage that I'm talking about is the psychological courage to let yourself feel the truth of what you really want as a woman. Yeah. That takes courage in this world. And to say it and to go after it and to believe in yourself. It takes a lot of courage to believe in yourself, especially as you're aging and everyone's telling you, like, you've had your time, pass the torch. No, I will never, ever pass the torch. I will light torches until the day I die, but I'm never passing my torch. And I nearly passed it when I was turning 50, and I was like, well, I guess I've written the books. What am I going to do now? You know, and I interviewed Pat Mitchell, who was the first female president of CNN. She was the first female president of PBS, public broadcasting. She was the first woman to ever get a nationally syndicated TV show in America before Oprah. And I interviewed her when she was turning 80. Do I have her book in front of me? Right here.
Well,
hold on. This woman, when I interviewed her, listen, I had my Oprah notes. Like, I was literally like, I was so like, this woman, Pat Mitchell, who is the president of Sundance Film Festival, who is the who's who when it comes to women's media. And I decided I want to meet this woman. I want to interview this woman. I want to know this woman. And when I got that interview with her, and I asked her, you know, about passing the torch, and she said, Crystal, I'm turning 80 and I'm just getting started. So please do not think that because you're turning 50, like you're over the hill. You are going to go into the most powerful time of your life. You will not be that worried about having sex all the time and being all the stuff that matters so much when you're 30.
Yeah.
You're going to put that energy into helping heal this world. And that's exciting to me now.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do it with any guilt because the kids are raised and I can do what I want.
Yeah.
But it took me having to reset things again in my marriage, in my work, in my dynamic with every single human being in my life, but mostly with myself, to say, yeah, I'm going to give myself a second act. And it was her that changed things for me. It was Pat Mitchell.
Oh, wow. I find that this is the gift of menopause, is that it really, like, this is your come to Jesus moment. This is your dark night of the soul. It makes it so uncomfortable for you that you have, well, you can, some women don't change. I think some women don't. And then we see them disappear into some version that is not them. Like you were saying, you know, with not living in integrity, or we rise. right? We ride.
Yes.
So let
Yes.
thinking, changing, irritating you. Let them irritate you and get mad, like you were saying. Like,
Yes. And I think women have been so taught, you say come to Jesus moment. Well, we're literally taught right from the Sunday school days that like women are supposed to be the helpmeet for the husband, and women are supposed to, and women are going to do, and women are that, and women are softer, and women are quieter, and don't be so loud, and turn the volume down, and be small. Don't take up too much space. And I think I also rebelled. I think I was going through a rebellion in menopause that I was like, my daughter's also, it's just amazing. We live in a tiny little town. Not only was I able to get to Hay House and Random House and on Oprah, my daughter, who's now 27, decided she wanted to be a famous makeup artist. And at 21, she sent off her makeup to a show Kim Kardashian was producing, and she got chosen. Right now, she's down in LA. She's just done a worldwide tour with Avril Lavigne. She's living the dream, and she's in woman energy. And I can just use those terms when she's going too hard and working too hard and giving too much and doing. I say, okay, you're in mother energy right now, so reel it back. Go get some sleep.
Yeah.
Because you can be in mother energy at 27. But it just shows me that it is not, proximity is important. Don't get me wrong. It's great to live in Hollywood if you want to make movies. But in the day and age that we are in, you can create any dream from any place, anywhere in the world. And that's just the fact. So we do not need to hang our hats up. We can actually step into our second act. I have women signing up for my courses. We have a master empowerment coach certification. We're in 45 countries now. And I think our average age is probably 55. So I have women from all over the world. I have women in their 70s saying it's time for me to take my life's experience and do something with it that feels really meaningful, that I can make money, that I can feel proud of myself, and that I don't have to depend on some man to do it for me. So it's incredible. And then I can love my husband. Like, believe me, I've gone through a lot over the years, and I'm still here. And it's my woman energy that's kept me here for sure. My daughter energy is ready to run every time we have an argument.
I know that feeling.
But my mother energy is like, no, because we have the whole house, we have the businesses, we have the children and we can't do that. And my woman energy says, well, we actually can.
Yeah.
If you're not happy, we absolutely could sell everything because and you could go anywhere you want to go. You can do anything you want. What do you really want? And if we ask a woman usually what she really wants, what are your intentions? Very rarely does she say, I want to burn it all down. Yeah. I want to hurt everybody. She usually says, I want to be loved. I want to be respected. I want support. I want, like, when you think about what she really wants, and I say, let's lock in on what you really want. Let's learn to overlook some of the obvious stuff that's just, don't get caught up in it. Manage those emotions. Learn how to ask yourself the right questions in your journal. Or get on. We have mentorship coaches at no charge in our school. So the women that are getting ready to graduate have to do 30 coaching calls before they can. So we are not only certifying women, we're mentoring women at no charge all over the world. And if you don't know how to ask yourself the right questions, ask for help. Yeah. And never give up. Never give up your torch. Yeah. It's your light. This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine.
Let it shine. I imagine the ability to ask for help is women's energy.
Yes. Yeah. And to be discerning who you ask your help of, because I'm not talking about going on social media and overexpressing. That is, I think, something that was very mistaken when psychology morphed and Freud said, everybody just needs to express themselves. I've done a lot of studying around this. And I think what happened was it wasn't just express yourself and puke all over people and write everything you want on social media and send everybody in your family mean letters. And no, express yourself to one very discerning person you can trust. Yeah. Write the letter that you're never going to send. Yeah. Get it all out. Yeah. Burn it. Talk some more to that discerning person that you can trust, and then put your plan together. So it's really knowing how to ask for help and asking for help from someone who's in a better off situation than you are.
Mm.
Because there are way too many times I see women saying, well, I went to the psychic, and I just want to be like, and you're going to let her tell you what you should do for your life? How's her life?
Yeah.
Or, you're going to go to the life coach that is so disconnected from her body,
Yeah.
is so disconnected from so much in her life. Like, make sure you're choosing your support in a way that you feel good. You'll feel it in your body if she's your person. And we all need to find our people.
Yeah.
And we all have our people. And we all have our guardian angels. And we have the support around us if we lean into it. So yeah, you got to lean in. And I think the biggest thing is learning to trust other women.
Mm-hmm.
And then really choosing a group of women, and they might not be in person because you might live in a small town like I do, and I'm not going to have my people down the road. But I have women from all over the world now that are some of my best friends. And we vibe. I know I keep using that because we liked it, but we just resonate in an energy that when we're around each other, we feel good about who we are. We like ourselves afterwards. We don't compete and compare. We just really celebrate each other, and we get off and we're just like, I get to go be a superwoman, and she can be a superwoman, and she can be a superwoman, and she's a superwoman, and we all get to be superwomen. And when I feel like awful, I know who I'm going to go to, my women. That's who's going to hold the web of love that we've all woven over many, many years and stories together. And that's where we get held.
Yeah. Crystal, this has been so inspiring. I've thought about self-abandonment. I've read about it for years, but honestly, how you explain it and how you passionately deliver it, it makes the most sense to me. So I'm so forever grateful for your time today.
Thank you.
I'm not at all surprised by your success, and I can't wait to continue to see the torches that you lay.
Thank you.
You have an amazing quiz as a starting point for our listeners to go and kind of get into your world and really maybe explore many of these things. Where do we take that quiz, and maybe tell them what they're going to get out of the quiz?
Yeah, so I love that. So I actually, in the book, The Emotional Edge, I created a quiz, and it was pretty amazing when about 3 months after my book came out, I got the email that Oprah wanted to feature my quiz on Oprah.com. Well, I don't know if Oprah, but her people. And I was like, whoa, I got the Oprah's fairy dust. So you can go to Oprah.com, but I say, come on over to me, because I have also done a 2026 revised and updated, and it is at the location of my school. It's probably the easiest place to just head over to www.swatinstitute.com. And there's a lot of things on that page. But if you want to go straight to the quiz, just do a /quiz. And what it's going to give you is, I think it's 10 or 20 questions. I should know. And every one is an A, B, or C. And you just choose the response you would do, not that you know to do, because everyone knows woman energy deep down. We know. So I will have women sometimes go, I took the quiz and I'm in woman energy. And then I say, well, why don't you look at your life though? Because if your life's not where you want it to be, you know woman energy. You're probably great at telling other people how to be in woman energy, but you're not doing it for yourself. So take the quiz, and it will help you recognize if your dominant emotional archetype is mother energy or your dominant emotional archetype is daughter energy. Now, if you're in woman energy, girl, you are doing the work. You've done the work. You're following your path, and good on you. And if not, then I just give tools. My whole life has been designed to make complex ideas easier for women. And I just keep giving tools and ways that women can get back into alignment with who they really are. Because that's all it is. It's coming back into alignment with who you really are. Yeah. And you would be in awe of who you really are. And I can see your magnificent soul shining so bright. So you're doing the work, you're sharing the work, and I'm just so grateful to you. And like, I found you. I want to be really clear. Like, I would like to be on her podcast because she's doing the work and doing really good work in the world. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much. I'm really glad we did this today. I think this was super inspiring. And sisters, go out and take that quiz. Help yourself in this one simple way. Get into Crystal's world. Help yourself understand what energy you're in, because it sounds like this is really that first step to no longer abandoning yourself, to getting back into woman energy and living the life you love and being more in your life and not just less on a scale. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Crystal, and we'll catch you in the next episode. If you're 35 plus and ready to stop guessing, start understanding your hormones, and feel your absolute best, hit subscribe. That's what we do here.